All right, so to kick off the data modeling 101 part of the section, you may very well be asking yourself, well, what the heck is a data model anyway? So I want you to picture something like this. We've got three different tables shown here: product lookup, sales data, and returns data. This is not a data model. What we're looking at here is a collection of three independent tables which share no connections or relationships. In other words, the sales data table has no idea that the product lookup or returns data tables even exist. And what that means is that if you tried to pull in or analyze data from those sales or returns tables, like the order quantity and return quantity, for instance, and filter those values based on some field in the product lookup table, like the product name, this is what you'd see. You'd get that same repeated grand total in every single row of the table. And again, that's because we have no relationship, no connection that's allowing us to filter or segment those sales or returns values based on fields outside of those tables. Now let's picture something like this. Looks very similar, right? We've got the same three tables here, but this is a data model. And why is it a data model? Well, because now we have relationships. These three tables are connected via relationships based on common fields or keys. And we'll talk more about different types of keys and what they mean in just a minute. But for now, what this means is that we can take fields from our sales and returns data, and because those relationships exist, it means that we can aggregate or filter those values based on fields from related tables. So now instead of seeing that same repeated grand total, we see accurate values for these order quantity and return quantity fields. This is why data modeling is so powerful, because it allows you to pull data from all different places and sources, and as long as you have valid keys or connections to form relationships between them, it means you can analyze that data from all of the tables in one centralized place, as if you're merging it all together without having to physically join these tables or write a bunch of complex formulas and functions. So with that, let's go ahead and open up our AdventureWorks report file in Power BI, and I'll show you exactly what this looks like inside of the Power BI environment. All right, so once you have Power BI pulled up, you can go ahead and jump into the model view here. This is where you should see all of those tables that you loaded up in Power Query in the last section of the course, right? We've got our territories, our products, categories, subcategories, customer lookup table, calendar table, and our sales data table. And remember, we haven't done anything to create relationships between these tables, so we don't have a data model quite yet. And to really hammer that point home, just like we did in the slides, let's jump into the report view here. We've got our blank canvas. I'm going to talk about all these different visual types later in the course, but for now we're just going to use one type of visual called the matrix visual. You'll find it right here in the insert menu. If you're using an older version of Power BI, you may see it in a visualization pane here on the right side of the canvas, but it kind of looks like a table with some blue shading on it. So give it a click. This will insert the matrix visual here, and this works just like a pivot table in Excel. We can pull in fields into rows, into columns, and into values to give us a nice little flexible table visual that we can use to explore these numbers. So let's go ahead and add data to our values. We can either pull in from the rightmost pane, called the data pane, or we can do it right here in line. Let's grab order quantity from our sales data table. That's going to automatically aggregate to a sum, and we see that same familiar total, 84,174. And remember, because we have no relationships yet, that means that I can break down that total using other fields inside of the sales data table, right? Like the product key, for instance. That looks fine. But what I can't do is break those values down by any other table. So to use the same example, let's drill into our product lookup table, bring in product name, and this is where we see those same repeating totals row after row after row. So let's pause there. That's kind of our 10,000 foot view of what a data model actually is. Next up, we're going to talk about different types of tables within a model and how to create relationships between them using primary and foreign keys.